Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome back to another episode of Left 4 Dead 2 Myth Busting Mondays. And in today's video for the final myth, we're going to be testing to see if whether or not that we can break the shooting gallery minigame in Dark Carnival by getting too high of a score. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but the score counter in Dark Carnival can only go up to so high of a number, so if we were to hypothetically get a perfect game, would that result in breaking the scoreboard? Because technically, with zombies attacking you 24/7, it is possible that Valve never ended up allowing the player to get a perfect score by not ever programming it in. So I'm curious to see if whether or not they did program it in, and we're going to be finding that out here at the end of today's video. If you guys end up enjoying today's video, please drop a like, subscribe if you are new, and if you have a myth of your very own that you'd like to have be featured in next week's episode, please by all means leave it here in the comments down below, or also alternatively, you can leave it within my Discord server, which is going to be linked down below in this video's description. All that being said, guys, I hope you end up enjoying seeing this week's episode of Left 4 Dead 2 Myth Busting Mondays. Myth: can you trigger the car alarm in Dead Air Chapter 1 at the earliest possible point on the rooftops? Alrighty guys, the first myth is going to be submitted in by Flood. Now you're going to be a little bit shocked when I show you this, that Dan is hitting the car clear as day from the rooftops because you can see bullet marks in the car, and he's even able to shoot at me here from this distance, but the car alarm will just not go off. There is clearly 4, 5, maybe even 6 bullet marks in that car, and none of them have done a thing. I wanted to test to see if whether or not it was this fence that was blocking the bullets, or more rather just disabling their functionality, and it looks like that it indeed is, because the moment that I go past the fence and I shoot the car, it immediately will end up chirping. Not only that, but it funnily enough also happens to be the case that if you shoot a boomer, because if you shoot a boomer from the rooftops, it also will still not set off the car alarm, but the moment that you shoot a boomer while you're in the area, then it will do it. So surprisingly, no, you actually cannot set off the car alarm by shooting it with a gun from the rooftops, because there's an invisible barrier near that metal fence, and it changes the way the bullets work, meaning that the first myth is busted. Myth: is it possible to get on the balcony in the passing where the Left 4 Dead 1 survivors are at? Alrighty guys, the second myth is submitted in by Ellis Gaming. Now at the beginning of our testing, we tried to grenade launcher ourselves in a couple of different spots, but ultimately reaching no avail. But we did find some areas that were not necessarily a 100% no. Like for example, there's this part of the bridge where if you complete the finale and it does lower the bridge successfully where you can get to Jimmy Gibbs' stock car, this part of the bridge is hollow and doesn't have a invisible barrier blocking you. And so we tried to launch ourselves up here, but unfortunately the way that your body gets launched, you can't exactly get to the ledge. Really, the only area where there might be a possibility is this area where Lewis is, because technically the very direct corner, they did not put the invisible barrier everywhere around it, and so there's this little spot where you can walk through. So my hope was to launch Dan from this little restaurant here and get him into there, but unfortunately because it gets blocked by the invisible barrier near the wooden plank, it prevents him from being able to reach the bridge fully. So I'm going to say that the second myth is busted, because even though I thought there was a slim chance with that little corner near the restaurant, unfortunately it's too rigid and doesn't allow us to be able to get in there. Myth: does the microphone on Dark Carnival amplify all noises? So the third myth is submitted in by Keto, and Keto asks, also in addition to the myth, if we do end up finding out that this myth is possible, can we please find a funny sound? So I not only think that the myth is at least plausible, but also here is 2 things that I thought were really funny. The first one is just a clip of Nick complaining.
Is there a man up there that maybe we can talk to? I'm telling you for the last goddamn time. Lower the goddamn bridge, you greasy vest-wearing monkey.
And here is a second clip of me recreating one of the most iconic Left 4 Dead clips of all time, which is from Cricken's old YouTube video where the jockey is dancing on the Dark Carnival stage. So here is what I believe is technically the jockey being picked up by the microphone. When he's on the stage, it sounds a lot more echoey, just like how a normal microphone would sound, and for the sake of comparison, here is a clip of him in the stands and me on the stage. You guys hear the difference? It's subtle, it definitely is subtle, but I feel like there's more reverb when he's near the microphone. So I'm going to say that the third myth is confirmed. I'm almost certain that every single one of the noises are going to be picked up by the microphone because it is a microphone. It's meant to pick up pretty much all sounds. I don't think it's going to discriminate between you or a special infected, for example. Myth. Do the OG survivors from the passing have different models compared to how they look in Left 4 Dead 1 campaigns? Alrighty guys, the fourth myth is submitted in by Patriotic Bosnian. Now, I'm just going to be 100% honest with you guys when it comes to the Left 4 Dead 1 survivors in the normal Left 4 Dead 1 campaigns in comparison to the way that they are in the passing. I honestly could not find a difference. Now here's the thing, just because I can't find a difference doesn't mean that there isn't a difference. Because if you do a quick Google search, Google will just flat out tell you that yes there is, it just doesn't unfortunately elaborate on what the difference is. It could be something drastic and it could be something subtle. When I looked in the reply section of this comment, there was one of y'all that elaborated on how that it's just the models on the first chapter of the passing that are different. But even looking at these ones of Zoe and Francis, I still honestly cannot tell a difference. Zoe still looks like Zoe, and Francis still looks dead inside. I will give this myth the benefit of the doubt though, and I will at least label it as plausible because there is signs pointing that they are different, and I don't want to just make it bust just because I can't see them. Alrighty guys, and now it's time for the final myth, and once again it is going to be, are you able to end up breaking the shooting gallery minigame in Dark Carnival if you get a perfect game, or rather just too high of a score? Let's go over to the game and find out. Myth, can you break the shooting gallery minigame scoreboard on Dark Carnival by getting too high of a score? Alrighty guys, and then the last myth of today's episode is submitted in by Dan. Now here is everything to consider when it comes to this myth. Here are all the different types of points that we can get for all the different things we can shoot. There is the red skeleton, the blue skeleton, the pistachio guy, Mr. Peanut, and then there's also bonus points it looks like if you get 2 of the skeletons of either color at once. And for the scoreboard counter, it only ends up having 6 digits, which means that the maximum score can be just under 1 million points. 999,999 specifically. Now there's 2 things I want to show you guys in this myth. The main one is going to be our best game, because we were actually having kind of a hard time, believe it or not, trying to get a perfect score, because with only there being 2 of us, either A, we would shoot the peanut guy because we were panicking, or 2, we would miss a skeleton. And by the end of our game, our maximum score was 1,220. Now, given the fact that we didn't hit a peanut guy and we got every single one of the enemies, something seems off here. The math isn't mathing. So we're looking at the assets underneath of the map, and while down there, we also noticed this, where the integer counter for the minigame is misleading, because if you take a look at them, not every one of the number dials shows up here. If you go over to specifically the scoreboard counter, there's only 4 spin dials, which means that rather the maximum score, instead of being 999,999, can only go up to 9,999. So this means that even if you had a 100% perfect game, you technically can't break the scoreboard counter because Valve never programmed a scenario where you could break the scoreboard counter. And that's going to mean that the last myth is busted. Even if you did everything perfectly, the odds are stacked against you and the game is rigged from the start. You unfortunately cannot break the scoreboard counter by having a perfect game where you get a ridiculous amount of points. But yeah guys, that is it here for today's video, and I do truly hope you guys ended up enjoying it. If you did, please consider dropping a like, comment, subscribe, follow, and all that beautiful stuff. And if you guys have a myth of your very own that you would like to be featured in next week's episode, please by all means leave it here in the comments down below. Or also alternatively, you guys can leave it within my Discord server, which is going to be linked down below in this video's description. And as we wrap up the video, guys, just want to mention 2 quick things. Number 1, I have a second YouTube channel now. It is called Black Ninja 797 Extras. And on this channel, I'm going to be uploading and posting additional content that you would normally not see here on my main channel, such as gameplay walkthroughs, funny moments with my friends, and Challenge Accepted, which was a series I used to do here on my main channel where I play games that you guys requested me to play. If you guys want to check out the second channel, there is a link down below in this video's description. I also wanted to say thank you and shout out to Epic Games for being my first ever sponsor. I have a supporter creator code with them. The code is just my name, Black Ninja 797 in all caps. And if you guys want to, you can use it in the Fortnite and Epic Games item shops. Anybody that uses my code or has used it before in the past, I tremendously appreciate you. And yeah guys, with all that being said, I hope you end up enjoying seeing another YouTube video from the most unique YouTubers are ever going to see. Thanks for watching guys, I love all of you, and peace out.
Hey meme lords, Jesus here. And you better have enjoyed that video there by the Eternal God Daddy Ninja. You should probably subscribe too, or the mighty Moab will come for your balls. If you enjoyed the video, you might like it too. And give me the memes. Flash, bang, boom!